Hey everybody, you're watching Hyper Tiger XT, my name is Tiger, and in case you were wondering, the XT stands for... Last week when I wasn't looking, I got tagged in this thing called the YouTube Agenda Tag by Pokemon Master and good friend Dezzles, and even though the YouTube Agenda Tag is like super neat and really awesome, there are some things about myself that I've never said in a place where my family or my employees could see them or hear them or anything like that. But I actually think now maybe I really want to, but instead of going through all of the questions in the YouTube Agenda Tag like sequentially and everything like that, I'm just gonna form them into one big, massive story about myself. When it comes to gender and I, the two of us don't really mesh properly, and even though words like masculine and feminine might do well to describe people who aren't me, when it comes to me, they, and the concept of gender in itself really doesn't really feel like it applies. I mean, people at work use the he and him pronouns and all that kind of thing to refer to me, and that's perfectly fine, I'm cool with that, but to be honest, I wouldn't care what pronouns they used, they could use she or whatever they wanted. I would be much more comfortable if people used neutral pronouns to refer to me, but in English that's really difficult. They could use they, but I don't want to have to answer a whole bunch of really awkward questions, especially at work or with my family. I tend to present as more masculine anyway. I wear a lot of ties and waistcoats and things like that when I'm at work, and when I'm outside of work, I wear a lot of like really loose t-shirts and oversized jumpers and things like that, but that's mostly for comfort reasons because I'm quite chubby. Ultimately, I'd really like to present and dress as some kind of fae fantasy adventurer type. Like, how freaking awesome would that be? Like a Pathfinder bard or a rogue? I just don't really know how to put those outfits together at the moment. And even though I present like a dude, or how people assume a dude looks, I really dislike facial hair on myself with a seething, burning passion. It makes me so uncomfortable, and I never really used to like it on other people who I was romantically attracted to either, until the person who I am actually currently quite taken with, on whom I think it actually looks quite nice. And I think that maybe that had something to do in the past with it making me really uncomfortable about myself, because it was something that I can't really control properly. Oh, and in case you couldn't tell, I'm like trying to grow my hair out because I want to see how long I can get it before I get like really bored and just cut it off in a fit of ADHD impulsiveness. And given that I used to have like really short spiky hair or a little faux hawk and stuff like that, this is probably the most feminine my head has ever looked, which is pretty freaking cool. Ultimately, I don't really know how to express physically my gender. It's quite frustrating, given that the only real options I seem to have as far as other people's outward perception of me are masculine or feminine, and given that I really don't feel like gender really takes with me properly, I don't know how I like subconsciously or consciously interact with that in and of myself. This week in the comments, I would super love it if you told me about your own adventures with gender. Tell me all about your gender and stuff like that, and that would be really cool. Thank you. So my brother told me that I reminded him of the current leader of Russia, and after a whole bunch of questions about how he could possibly find me and him having anything in common at all, it turns out that he was just putting me on. It's taste test time, tummy lovers, and this week I'm eating these. These are tarako butter flavored chips, and tarako is basically a salted fish roe food product in Japan, and butter is butter. Let's eat them, yay! Alright, step one, take a nice big smell. They smell like fishy meaty chips. Yay. Step two is to shove them down your gullet as fast as you can, and maybe hopefully you won't taste them. Oh. I was a fool to be scared, because these are really tasty. They just taste like a lighter, fluffier version of the prawn crackers that you get at Chinese restaurants. They're much less than prawn crackers traditionally are, and they're much easier to eat, which is fantastic. And ultimately, if you like prawn crackers, these are super delicious, so please go out and try and find them. You saw the packet earlier, and you can just rewind and stuff. So it turns out that my shaming of my youngest brother in last week's video actually worked, and when I was up visiting him and everybody else for the wedding last weekend, he loaned me Until Dawn, and it is probably the scariest game that I have ever played. I'm playing it with my friend Sammy, and we are uploading videos to his gaming channel once a week, but it hasn't started yet, so I will let you know when it has started. The game is super fun, but it is like one great big stress ball moment after another. It's so freaky, holy cow, and I'm only 3 chapters in. The writing is brilliant, the direction is great, the set pieces are awesome. It's a little bit cliched, but I think they're doing that to like pay homage to other horror stuff, and then they like whip the rug out from under you anyway, and it's brilliant. Expect me to talk more about it in the future. Alrighty fighter then, we have reached the end of another video, which means that it is time for me to tell you that the top comment this week came from Vixie, who said that in last week's video when I was talking all about love, she was super happy that I mentioned polyamory, and she's so welcome because it is such an awesome thing for people who are into it, and I get that not everybody's into it. I am a monogamist, but I love polyamorous people anyway because don't be a dick. She also said that ski in Japanese is just as limited as love in English, and I'm inclined to agree. If you liked this week's video, then please remember to hit the thumbs up and the like button. Help me make everybody else see it, and please subscribe if you aren't already subscribed, and remember to share this with your friends and your family and your social media circles, and I will see you next week for more of this. Bye!